So we are going to do another How to Build an Airplane series, and this time we're going to build a Rutan Quickie, so a really interesting canard design. Anyway, let's get started. I'm going to first of all put in the canvases that we're going to use to build our sketches from. As I've said beforehand on this sort of thing, I am not a Fusion 360 expert by any means, so there's probably better ways to do it. Many times I imagine I'm doing things the wrong way, but I'll do my best. Right, so first of all then, to insert a canvas, we go to Insert, Select Canvas, and then we need to navigate to wherever you've stored your pictures. So I've got mine in here, and we'll start with the side view, which I have prepared earlier, and we're going to put it on the right side face. If you get the sides the right way round early on, it makes it a little bit easier to navigate. And then once we've done that, we're going to do exactly the same process again. This time going for I'll go for the top, and then we'll do the front. So don't worry about sorting them out just yet. We'll do that in a moment. And the front, here we go. Select the face, and there we go. Right, now these are going to need, first of all, organising into the correct orientation, and then we're going to need to size them. So we go up to canvases, and we'll find the top one first, I think, edit canvas, and we need to turn that one through 90 degrees. That'll do for now. Front canvas, that's the same. That's also going to need to be turned through 90 degrees. There we go. And the side one at the moment looks okay. Right, I'd suggest the next thing to do is to size these, right, to get some kind of idea of how big we want the airplane to be. Now, obviously, there's lots of things that you need to think about here. You need to think about prop clearance. You need to make sure that the propeller is going to be clear off the ground. So if you're planning on using a 17-inch prop, you need to size the aircraft appropriately. If you're going to use any equipment that you have, so let's say you don't want to 3D print some wheels, you've got some wheels that you want to use, you might want to size it accordingly for the wheels, things like that. So I think for us, the prop is going to be the thing that we need to size it for. So you need to make sure we get enough prop clearance from the ground, and you can see here we've got a ground level, so the distance between here and here needs to be the radius of the prop, or certainly no bigger than the radius of the prop. So what we're going to do is we're going to navigate to the side image, which is that one, and we use the Calibrate function. Now, RC props on airplanes are obviously not normally to scale, right? You can have a smaller prop on a full-size airplane. On an RC airplane, props tend to be a little bit bigger. So I'm just going to pick 2 points slightly out the way, and I'm going to say that we want to be able to use a 10-inch prop, which is about like 240 millimeters. I mean, that's a rough guess at the moment, but that's sized our image and calibrated it to start with. I'm going to take another measurement this time. I'm going to measure from the nose of the airplane to, I guess, where the tail would end, so about there. So 956 millimeters. So our plane would be about 1 meter long, which seems reasonable actually. So I said 956. If you need to work out a measurement, you can use the Inspect tool, measure, click on the line you want, and it'll give you the line. So 957. So we try and remember that. Finish that sketch and calibrate this canvas. Okay, so I'll take my 2 points here and here, and we're going to make that 957. Alright, cool. And then we're going to go and try and have a look at what we can do with the front. so in order to calibrate the front, we're obviously not going to be able to use the length of the fuselage, and we can't use the prop because it doesn't have a prop. So we are going to make another sketch this time. We're going to make it on the top view, and I think we'll go with the main wing, and we're going to draw a line as we did before. So we're going to go from tip to tip. 984. Excellent. And that's going to be the wingspan. And then we're going to calibrate that front image here. Okay, so go calibrate, and I'm going to go tip to tip 984. And there we go. So we should now have 3 views that are all roughly calibrated and in the right orientation. So not lined up yet, so we're going to spend a couple of minutes lining that up. Now you have to remember that this is a guide. It doesn't matter if it's not exact, but you'll make your life much easier if you spend a little bit of time making sure that the guide that you're using isn't leading you astray. So let's take the side view first of all. And we're going to edit canvas, and I'm going to move that. And do you know what? We got a little dot for CFG. I'm going to put the CFG on the origin there. I don't know if that's a helpful thing to do. It's not something I normally do. I normally just place the center of the plane. I'm going to do that that way. And then we're going to need to line up the other ones. So we'll go with the top, edit canvas, and lining up the wing is probably the best way to do it here. So let's go to the top view. So one thing we do need to make sure, of course, is that it is central on the origin. If you don't have it central on the origin, then it's very difficult to build it. You'll have problems making a symmetrical design. But do bear in mind that these drawings are not always perfect as well. So that looks pretty good. I think we've got the center there, center of the plane there. Then just come and look at the top-down view a bit. We can see if we've lined up the wing, and it looks okay. Trying to find, there's the front of the wing there, there's the front of our wing. It looks okay. So we'll come down a bit more. Yeah, I think maybe it can go a tiny bit forward. Not that much. 5, nope, -5, -6. There you go, that looks pretty good. Okay, and then we're going to come round to our front view. And first of all, we need to make sure it's central. Actually helps if you click front as well. Make sure that you're looking at it straight on. There we go. And then we need to try and get the kind of height of the wings right. So that needs to move up. Maybe not that much, maybe 20. How does that look? Yeah, maybe 25. Oh, clicked the wrong button there. Give it another 5. So I'll show you what I'm kind of looking at. I'm looking at the top of the wing indicating here and the top of the wing here. And I'm actually going to move it down one. Just make that 4. Oh. And let's go up 6. Yeah, I reckon that was pretty good. So I'll click OK. So now we've got something that we can build from. All right. And that is our 3 view. So I'm going to save at this point. Fusion does autosave, but it's really frustrating if it goes wrong. Okay, so that is our canvases laid down. I think think what I'm going to do next is I'm going to check a few sizes before we do lots and lots of work and find out that it doesn't work. So I'm going to make another sketch on the side, and I'm going to draw a line from the sort of ground contact points like that. Oh. And what I want to then do is see how we're going to be for prop clearance. So if I go 125 both ways, that gives us 250 millimeters. Oh, 25. It doesn't need to be exact this, we're really just trying to get a gauge of how we're doing. So 254 millimeters is a 10-inch prop. So taking a look at this, then this would take a 10-inch prop. We've got a metre wingspan, a metre length aircraft. So I reckon we'll be able to come in at around 1,500 grams as a max weight. And I think we can come up with a power system that will work then with a 10-inch prop. Equally, you could probably use a smaller prop, maybe go 3 blades, 9-inch, and have a little bit more ground clearance. This airplane, when it flies, you don't pick the tail up. It's not a traditional taildragger in that sense. We don't really need the extra space where we bring the tail up and the nose going down. That being said, maybe in landing we might want the addition of a little bit of space. But anyway, this really just to check to make sure that we've not come up with some rubbish dimensions. And it's something that you need to bear in mind when you're scaling these canvases, is how big you want the airplane to be. Later on, it is possible to change the size of the airplane, but once you start cutting out holes for servos and wing spars and control rods and stuff like that, or you start sizing the walls, you're going to have a problem scaling it. Okay, so I think it's time then to move on to our first part of basic. So how I'm going to go about this, I'm going to split the fuselage into two, and I'm going to start with the rear section here, and then we'll try and do the forward section. I'm going to take some artistic license, I think, with this, in that this is the 3-view for a Quickie, which tends to have a sort of a square profile along the bottom here. But I like the Q200, the two-seat version, which has a rounder profile. I think it looks a little bit more modern, so we might kind of stick to that, especially with 3D printing, as it's easy to do. So firstly then, we're going to get construct a plane, and we're going to put a plane at, I'm going to do it maybe 110, so it's like the fattest bit of the fuselage there, and click OK, and then I'm going to sketch. I'm going to pick the top of the fuselage, and then I'm going to come around the side and see where the bottom of the fuselage should be here. Whenever you're sketching the fuselage like this, we just basically take a mirror line down the middle, and we do it in halves, or we use the mirror function essentially, so that we get a symmetrical shape. Okay, so I'm going to zoom right in. That'll be fine. Oh, wrong one. I want to use the spline tool here. So the spline tool will give us a mathematical curve, basically. If you zoom in, you can often get like smaller squares to help you line it up. Go here, and I'm going to go down to down to here for now, and then click OK. Oh, I've pushed some buttons which has done some funny stuff with the line, so I'm just going to delete that line and start again. I accidentally pushed X on the keyboard. I don't know why. Okay. Now when you first make these lines, you want to get them close, but they don't need to be perfect. And then we go to the select tool. This one needs to be, just want it horizontal. zoom in again. Okay, by doing so you won't then end up with it looking funny at the top. And this one wants to be vertical. Look at that. Right, there we go. Okay. And then if you needed to, then at this point you can move these other ones. That looks good to me. So now you can take the mirror function, mirror line. Okay. Now I have to say I've done something horribly wrong here. I don't know what this line is all about. Let's carry it on and see what happens, but usually this would be a hard blue line, it wouldn't be a dotted line, and this is where, as I told you before, I don't really have all the answers when it comes to Fusion 360. No. Alright, so I'm going to carry on straight down for a little bit. Okay, and we're going to go around the side of the airplane and see how far down we've made it with our line. So we're down to about here, so I reckon that's pretty good. We're going to carry on the curve around the bottom then. Okay, and we go select again, straighten this up. Go around the side, that looks pretty good, sort of hit my target. We can always adjust this a little bit later on. And then we want to mirror that one again, that one and that one. And mirror line should still be there. Okay. Right, so bottom curve's good, the top curve not so much, and it hasn't given us a solid object here, so we're going to need to go back and see if we can fix that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hit the same points with a new spline. Okay, get that, select, and just do what we tried to do at the beginning. Straighten it up. There we go. And mirror. Alright, great. Finished sketch, and we should have a selectable enclosed sketch here. And if we just come around to the right, we can see that maybe I'm a little bit above the profile there and a bit above the profile there, but that's actually going to make this part a tiny bit easier. Alright, so we're going to now make another sketch. I'm going to make it on the side, and for this one I'm going to go for another spline. I'm going to start at the front of the airplane. I'm going to follow the profile of the plane down. It's got this lovely shape to it, the Quickie. There we go. Got fat fingers today. Okay, and then we're going to do another one on the top. Now, I don't want to worry too much about this canopy at the moment, because profiles have trouble when you try and put a sharp point in. But we'll just do it like this for now. And we're going to have to come and sort these lines out. Okay, let's see what we can do. So when you pull in the shoulders on these lines, you make the radius, you make the radius of the curve tighter. That's not what I want. And if you're having trouble and the mouse keeps jumping to a certain point, why is it not letting me select these ones now? Let's finish the sketch, come back in, see if we can edit it again. Yeah, cool. Okay, I don't really need it to be quite that big. Alright. Okay, so we'll finish the sketch. So first thing we could do now then is get some kind of look at the shape of the model. And I'm going to do a sweep. So select this, we're going to go path and guide rail. And then I'm going to choose that as the path, that as the guide rail. We'll do full extents. And there we go, we've got like some kind of tail of the airplane, which looks pretty good. It has made me see that there's definitely something going on up here. So we need to adjust something on that sketch. But let's have a look at the top, see what that looks like. As a rough representation of what we're looking for. I think we're getting there. You can have it stretch or scale. In this case, that would be stretch, which is not what we want. And scale, we'll scale it down as we get to the end, which I think looks pretty cool. Alright, I'm going to click OK on that. So that body is toughened up. And then because we've used the sketch is gone, but I'm just going to bring it back. I'm going to try and edit the sketch. See if we can find out what's going on with this point here. That looks a little bit better, doesn't it? So there's the first parts of the body. First part's always easy because it doesn't have to match up with any other parts. Right, now let's see what happens if we do the sweep going forwards. So we'll pick that as the path, that as the guide rail. That doesn't look too bad, does it? Now doing it this way means that it takes tangents from. Now there's a tiny problem in that as it goes narrower, it's narrowing that. So let's have a look at stretch. Yeah, so that would be pretty cool most of the way down, but then at the end we want it to change. But I think that we start with this and then we edit it a little bit later on. We can come back and change that if we need to. So I'm going to click OK. Let's just hide the canvases for a minute. And then we've got the first becomings of our Quickie. So to carry on with the nose, I'm going to be able to see the canvas again. And we're going to make a offset plane. And I think we'll just come back to, yeah, maybe about here. And we're going to split the body using that plane we just made. Now we get this extra piece, which we can move out of the way. And let's just see what happens if we can do this with a sweep again, just from that slightly different starting point. But going scale, this one. Yeah, that looks pretty good. Actually, do you know what? That's not really what we want at the front. We don't really want this tight nose because we want to be able to have the air intakes there. So let's have a little look at a photo, I think. So let's just find a normal Quickie. This one's pretty cool. Yeah, so we want to kind of have some narrowing at the front, but then we want to be able to have some air intakes. I guess this is a bit more of a traditional shape one. That's not a Quickie, that's a dragonfly. That's a Quickie. Yeah. Alright, let's go back. Let's click new body. Okay, so it doesn't join it yet. We can always join it at a later stage if we need to. And I'm thinking it's probably going to be just as easy to add in some shapes and then merge them in. But just in case, let's bring up that front canvas again, just the front, and maybe sketch out this kind of shape here, and then do a loft and see what happens when we do that. So I'm going to get rid of body 3, which is currently the nose, and we're going to make another offset plane. Go to the right, we need to be able to see up construction planes. We'll bring it up here. Maybe another 95, 100. There we go. And it's really interesting that the plane that. Okay, yeah. So these aren't 90 degrees. That's worth bearing in mind. So actually, do you know what? I'm going to make a new offset plane. This one is at 90 degrees, and then we're going to make a sketch on there. So if you're new to Fusion 360, Fusion 360 is a program where you make your shapes, certainly the way I use it, you make your shapes from sketches. So you generate two-dimensional sketches, and then you make 3D shapes from them. Right, I'm going to put in my mirror line, which is just a line down the middle, and I quite like the idea of having the round intakes, so let's make a circle like this, and I'm just going to mirror that circle. To make an offset by like 3 mil. I'm going to mirror that again. And then I'm going to just join up the tops of these like that. Cool. And let's see what it looks like when we do a loft. So I'll be honest with you, most of the time when I'm doing this, there is an awful lot of trial and error, you know, to see what things look like. There's different methods that can achieve the same thing. And, you know, sometimes that's I don't like the look of that. So I'll tell you what I'm going to do, go back into the sketch. Actually, no, I'm not. I'm going to bring that sketch up, and I'm going to make a new sketch on a sketch. And the reason for that then is on this sketch I'm going to project parts of the other one that I want, and then using the cut tool I can cut away some of the bits of it. There we go, great. Get rid of the whole of that one, and then that gives me a cleaner sketch to alright. Tangents. Okay, so something's clearly gone funny there. That bit, I don't know why that bit's gone over there. I'm going to cancel it because I prefer body 3 at the moment. So we're going to stick with that one. Right, so there we are with the outlines of our fuselage. And that's the starting point. And then from there, we're going to go for, I guess the next thing to do would be probably the wings, but that's a little bit more in depth. So actually, let's build the tail plane right now. Okay, so coming to the back of the airplane here. What we want to do is we want to start with a sketch down here of an airfoil, just a symmetrical airfoil will be fine. And in this case, I'm not particularly worried about the airfoil at all. The shape of it doesn't matter, we just need to make sure that it's strong enough to be able to stick upright, so you don't want it like 1 millimeter thick, and it needs to be able to have some kind of articulating hinge for the rudder. And then at some point we need to think about where we're going to put that rudder servo. But for now, what I'm going to do is start with, in fact, I'm not going to make a new one, I'm going to cancel that. I'm going to edit this sketch, if I can get hold of it. And I'll draw a new line, like that. Maybe a bit more like that. And then we're going to construct this time a plane at angle. And that's what we're looking for. And we're going to go sketch. We're going to intersect this shape, right? Okay, because that's going to give us what our constraints are for the bottom of the tail at the moment. So looking at the two sketches, you can see the side sketch, which we've mostly been working for, meets a bit further on. So I'm not going to worry too much about the top-down sketch for this. I'm going to sort of go with the side sketch. I'm going to go for there, and we'll go right down to the end. Okay, how long was that line? Okay, it's difficult to highlight, so if we get rid of body 1. Nope, that's not the one. .5, 10 centimeters. So that might need to be a little bit longer, but we're going to start with that. So okay. So remember, this is going to taper towards the top, so you probably want to start out fairly wide. So in this case, I'm making sure that it goes right out to the bottom of our tail boom. But in general, there, in terms of the shape, I think that's pretty good shape. There we go. And if we... what I'd like to get hold of is this guy. You can see how it's affecting the shape of what comes behind. Here we go. Finish that. Oh no, I don't want to finish it. Edit the sketch, and we're going for our mirror again. There we go. Okay, finish that. Okay, so here's the general shape we're looking for, but remember we started a little bit further on. Actually, I don't need a new sketch. We can go back to this one. Now when you're doing a sweep, you need to make sure that the path and the guide rail intersect the profile that you're going to sweep through it. So if I start my line here, that's not going to work. So I'm going to start my line here. And in this case, I'm going to go straight up. No, actually I don't want to go straight. I'm going to use a spline again. And it is going to be nearly all straight. But then at the top, I'm just going to put that curve in. Oh, sorry. Bring the body back in so that we can see what we're doing. Okay, I can't. Alright, well we've got this line here, so there we go. So this is going to naturally taper the piece as we move up, right? Oh no. Oh no, no, no. That's the front there, and I've done that. So see, this isn't going to work. So I'm going to go back into edit and see if we can move the whole. Finish sketch. Nope, still not there. Oh, I remember now. I was using the side profile, wasn't I? I was not using the top profile. Alright, let's try this. This line's not in, is it? So okay, let's try. So we go back in, we're using the sweep. Kind of want to get both parts of it. This profile, path, that one, guide rail, that one. And how's that looking? I think it's looking quite nice. Scale, new body, cool. There we go. Okay, bring back in. So there we have it. We've got a fuselage into tail. And sometimes it's easier to see without the canvas. Let's just go and have a little zoom in how this looks. Looks pretty good to me. A bit of space for a gear attachment here. All this stuff we need to work out later.